we was beating the drums as a signal because this man was always watching us and monitoring us. We had no time to sit, plan, talk. Again, when we did come together, he called it unlawful gathering. So then we had to start talking with the drums. But then after, I believe, 1739, a Stono Rebellion in South Carolina, they banned the drums.
Man, and you know what, brother? It's like you have so many people. Like that's what drawed me to Sinetta TV. You know what I'm saying, on YouTube, the brother Sinetta, and all the debates that he used to have going on with different religions, and it was interesting. And I used to point out to him those that he got closer to over the years to be mindful of making it seem as if he playing favoritism, because our people look for any loophole to distance themselves or run away from his channel. So I'm like, whatever you do, try not to do that, because him and Brother Polite became cool. Then if Brother Polite got involved or into it with other people and they saying he was scamming them and stuff like that, they gonna blame that on Brother Sinetta. You see what I'm saying? So it was just start getting distasteful, and I'm like, man, it was killing me in the inside, because we still really don't have nowhere to turn or run to for the knowledge of the guidance that we looking for besides the nation for real. And like I spoke to you before about just the racism and prejudice amongst our people and amongst religions. You know, now we'll be taught to learn about every religion and read every doctrine on those religions.
Right.
But the others is not taught like that.
Right.
So it makes it seem like why they say we the most forgiving people, you know, and being in the motherland and touching that soil from north, south, east, and west, it made me feel like because we are the chosen people and the first humans in existence, I was kind of wondering why we didn't have no wicked ways. Like I never experienced no wicked ways of the people during my travels. So I came to the conclusion, I was like, that's because that's Mother Earth, and she's going to protect her people. But then I noticed, okay, once you get to Europe, the motherland has all the natural resources to feed the world in warm climates, and it get cold over there as well, but not to the extent of Europe. So now, as you would say, bestiality or whatever, they had to start eating flesh, where in the motherland, at a certain time, they wasn't eating no flesh.
Right.
Fruits, vegetables, grains. And then once the Western world and the European world started coming to the motherland, bringing their ways of being, I guess it introduced those type of ways. And we only really had the Zulus and certain tribes to fight off or go against the people coming in trying to change the way that we was living, which, like the brother Long Live Muammar Gaddafi,
Right.
how he tried to unify all of the motherland's nations together and say, well, let's hold down our continent, and we don't want no outsiders coming over here or trying to tell us nothing, because that's what's bringing aware all this friction amongst us, because it was like a mold. They was sitting molds over there. You see what I'm saying? Like through the night they poisoning the soil and stuff like that. So now all of a sudden people getting sick. You had never heard no cases of cancer and all that in the motherland.
Right. That's right.
Now it's let us come over here and say we the church people, and they looking like church people, what you talking about? But they finding lands with mass amount of people like they coming to help, but they coming to infiltrate,
Right.
which we seen on one of the movies with Idi Amin. I think it was called
Talking about the one with Forrest Whitaker played Idi
yeah,
Amin. Yes, sir.
exactly. So for us in our culture, we need movies like that to go viral.
Right.
You know,
Right.
the books like that book you said, The Black Arabian.
Yeah, from Dr. Wesley. Yes, sir. See if I can get grab it real quick. I also got
Mm-hmm.
another book here, brother Joe. It's called The Servants of Allah.
Mm-hmm.
And this book is basically explaining what many of us already knew, that when our ancestors came over here, that the majority of them were Muslims. This is what Alex Haley found out by the guidance of Malcolm X and Honorable Elijah Muhammad, that many of our people that came here, that were brought here after being kidnapped, that we were practicing Muslims. You understand? But they cut us off from our heritage. And the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan teaches us that it's something called the 64 years of missing history, because we
Right.
always taught that we were brought here in 1619, but the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Minister Farrakhan, said it really was 1555. See, by 1619, you had, and we had what we know to be a Negro, because it was a 64-year process that the European went through in order to totally eradicate our history and make us into a new people. And how did he do that? By concentration camps. When we first came over here, our first ancestors, it wasn't that bad, but they allowed our ancestors to cohabit with one another and have children. And after our ancestors had children, and they would kill off the parents, and then they would rear these they would rear the babies, because they know that a people's greatest function is the passing down of their history, oral or written. So we had what we call the African griots, those that gave the oral history of the oral tradition. But being here in that 64-year period, they killed off our parents, and then they began to raise the babies. So they would kill our mothers, right, Brother Joe? And then they would take a piece of swine fat, dip it in molasses, and feed it to our children. And they called it a sugar tit. But these are the things that they did. Then when our mothers were alive, they would just brutally and viciously kill her husband in front of her. And what this would do is it would put fear into the mother. And
Mm-hmm.
then as a child, as we would breastfeed, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, we would nurse the milk of fear from our mother's breast. And that's how they always ruled and controlled us, through ignorance and through fear. So this 64 years of missing history is what it took them to make what is called the so-called Negro. And Negro, coming from the Greek, it means that which is dead, not physically dead, but mentally dead, morally dead, spiritually dead. Why? Because we had no knowledge of ourselves. When they robbed us of our history, Brother Joe, we no longer had a reference point. They became the reference point. They became the standard and the criteria upon which we measured and judged everything, because we was connected to nothing but them. So they gave us their religion. One of our great scholars said that when your God and Savior looks like your master and enslaver, you become the principal agent in your own destruction.
Which who said that?
That was Dr. Joe Ben Yakiman.
Yeah.
He said when
Who
your God and Savior,
what was the brother that left all the books to the minister?
that was him.
Oh, that was him, right? Yeah. He
Yeah,
said he
Dr.
said
Ben.
Dr. Ben, he said he would
Dr.
not
Ben.
leave this earth without making sure all his history of travels and books and knowledge, he had to know who hands the stuff needed to go to.
That's right.
And
But this is the type of knowledge, brother Joe, that I'm saying that I feel is relevant, particularly to our brothers. You know, the brothers that I would say we interact with on a regular basis. This is
mhm,
the type of knowledge that they're not privy to, and that they won't be privy to, because most people who have this knowledge, they're not grassroots, or they not accessible. You see what I'm saying? They ain't in the street. They, because we know a lot of these brothers, they're not willing to come to a particular building. So we gotta go to them. But a
mhm,
lot of the people that do have this knowledge, they don't have the right methodology or the approach or the love or concern. You understand? For our
right,
brothers in the street, for our brothers that really need this knowledge. Because again, you know, like I know, our brothers are not bad. But many of the things that we see them doing is learned behavior. It's an acquired characteristic. It's not natural. But being under oppression for 400 years, but Joe, we suffer from what they call internalized oppression, which happens when the oppressed group begins to use the same method that the oppressor used on them on themselves.
mhm,
Then they call it identification with the aggressor. It's like if somebody keep aggressing you, brother Joe, then a defense mechanism, you begin to take on the characteristic of the aggressor in order to protect yourself from being aggressed. So imagine being under aggression for 460 years. Then you begin to adopt the identity and the ways of the person that's aggressing you. And I'm not trying to absolve us of any responsibility, Brother Joe, and say it's not nothing that we as a people have to do, because we do have to begin to search and dig. But I'm just giving us the origin of a lot of what we see, the behavior, the way that we conduct ourselves. It has an origin and it has a root, and most of it is from that plantation. And it can be traced because, Brother Joe, most plantations, they had what they call a plantation manual. And in this plantation manual, it had the rules and the mechanisms that they used in order to control us. So this is no secret. You understand? These
the
were
stock, the,
scientists.
the Stockholm syndrome.
All of that, brother. These were,
Mhm.
man, Brother Joe, you know that I know we hear a lot of our brothers being stock, right? When trade these stocks. You know where that originate from back then, Brother Joe? I know
Yeah,
our brothers
from
be talking about,
slavery. We was the
yeah,
cattle. We was the cattle.
look, Brother Joe, like on, I know we talk about Black Wall Street in Tulsa, Oklahoma, but the Wall Street in New York was black because the Wall Street in New York was originally a slave market, right? And we was the stock. We were treated as stock, chattel, right? And the
Mhm.
slave master, he used to break us. And after he broke us, the stock, then he would do what? Put us on the market.
Right.
So you got the modern day stock brokers trading stock on the market, but we was the original stock, and he was the original broker. And then after he broke us, or they called it the seasoning process, then he would put us on the market for trade. See, so we
Right.
was the original stock. We was the original stock that the slave master broke, and then he put us on the market. Brother Tariq Nasheed just recently, I don't know if you've seen
Bug
it,
breaking.
buck breaking.
Mhm.
See, so again, many of the characteristics that we see our brothers exemplifying are the laws we see being passed to jam our brothers up. It has a root and it has an origin. And I think the more our brothers understand that, you understand, then the better chance they'll have. We all got weaknesses, Brother Joe. We all got defects and we all flawed. You understand? But our
Mhm.
brothers are being deprived of vital knowledge and information that would at least give them greater sight. So when they see things happening, I mean, if you fall, but you won't be able to say, I fell because I ain't know. I
And
just
that's
fell.
but see the thing of it is like I wonder like a brother like Tariq Nasheed, he done a great deed with putting them Hidden Color series together. Them was phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like why didn't he, well I would have to ask him because I don't know if he tried. But we know that Oprah had the own network. Why wasn't he able to release them on the own network? Why wasn't we able to get Tyler Perry to put them in his channels of distribution? pardon me, but we can watch 1,000 slavery movies though.
Right. Yes, sir.
We Hollywood will produce 1,000 of them all day long. So I'm saying, why didn't we use our resources to reach out to J-Rock and get him? I'm trying to stop. I'm hearing feedback, so I ain't know if it was from the headphones or what. But whatever, I ain't hanging up. So I felt like, why didn't Jamie Foxx? Why we didn't use our resources to reach out to Jamie? And since he played the Django and all that, why we couldn't put them hidden color series, volume 1 through 5, and the 1804 through them channels?
Well, you know,
But
Bud Joe, I don't know. I mean, if I offered the sentiment or perspective, it would just be speculation. But again, man, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us, Brother Joe, that if you don't know what was, you can't know what is, and you'll be ill prepared for what is yet to come. And
Mhm.
I know that historically speaking, Brother Joe, like in Alabama or the 1800s, 1830s, see, when we were abolitionists or we had a lot of abolitionists that were putting out literature and paraphernalia, what the United States government did was they blocked it. They made it illegal. The post office, they could not deliver this anti-abolitionist or this abolitionist literature. So the president of the United States at that time, he put a block or gag order against many of the abolitionists so that they would not give this information to the quote unquote slaves because they know and they knew that information is power. So in I believe 1740, South Carolina, many other jurisdictions, North Carolina, they created the anti-literacy law where they made it illegal for us to learn how to read. The first Brother Joe, 1835, 34, black man named David Riggles. This brother was deep. I got this book here, Brother Joe, entitled The Kidnapping Club. And it's talking about how the
Sure,
New York.
sure. If you got it on hand.
That?
So see, sometimes we can speak about these things, but we want the people mind to visualize it and
Yeah, I'm
then know
trying
where
to, man,
they can get it
I'm
from.
trying to
If it's
find.
well, if it's
I
gonna
get it.
take,
No, no,
yeah,
no. I got it right here. I'm just, but it's called the Kidnapping Club, and basically what this book is talking about because in New York City, the New York City Police Department, they had what was called the Kidnapping Club, and they would kidnap quote unquote black people as slaves, and then they would sell them and ship them south. They was known for this. So our brother named, thank you, Lee. It's called, Brother Joe, it's called the Kidnapping Club, and it's talking about. You heard of Rikers Island? See,
yeah.
Rikers was a virulent racist. A
Oh,
virulent,
now that's another thing. Not to cut you off.
yes, sir.
Um, why? Because I see at one point in time the groups rallied up and tore down all these racist statues and things of that nature, right?
Mm-hmm.
But how come? How you speaking about this guy Rikers Island? Did they
Mm-hmm.
change the name of that holding facility? Like it shouldn't. If they acting like they trying to make this world a better place or America a better place, and those things will start as a start, like how they was taking down the orange flag. What is called, my man?
The Confederate
The
flag.
Confederate flags. How they was taking them down and the statues down of slave masters and stuff like that. How come they not changing the names of them facilities like Rikers Island? Like I didn't know that he was a person until right now.
Man, Brother Joe, Rikers, man, virulent racist, bro. I mean, the things that he did to black people in New York. Again, this brother named David Riggles, to have a bookstore on history in New York City, 1834. By 1835, they burned it down. So he created something called like the Vigilant Society. Because again, the New York City Police Department, they were kidnapping slaves or kidnapping black people and shipping them south. You understand? So he
Mm-hmm.
created like the Vigilant Society to make sure that black people were not or would no longer be kidnapped, right? They used to call Brooklyn the Savannah of New York. I mean, when you talk about if that was the case, brother Joe, you would have to rename all this stuff. Would have to be renamed. I live in New Jersey, right, brother Joe?
Why not? Let's do that. Like
Because his world
we
would be
have
destroyed. He can't
no
just
we
listen.
okay. I see what you're saying. If they tear down, like take the name of Rikers Island, then we won't know the history of him and the type of person he was or whatever. Damn, that's kind of crazy because how they want to erase our history. You see what I'm saying? Anytime we start speaking on slavery, they want to dead the conversation. Oh, that was in the past. We wasn't living back then. But you can go on YouTube and you can find old tapes of people that was in slavery speaking about what they used to go to as kids that might be 90 years old right now today. Cause like when I
Right,
talk to my grandmother right now, she tell me about her times of picking cotton and all that. You see what I'm
right.
saying? So to sit there and hear and look at this little lady that I love so dearly, she got me trembling because I'm so frustrated just thinking and picturing her as a child in this field picking this cotton with some
Right.
slave masters and all that. Like, so I always say that I know I have to have the blood of a Tula revolutionary, a Che Guevara, them Zulus. I know I got to have that power in my blood because I they would have had to shoot me down.
Yes, sir.
I wasn't gonna do it. I knew I was gonna rebel. So I just feel like when Kanye got a lot of slack when he said slavery was a choice, and I didn't hesitate to say I stand with him on his statement because I
Mm-hmm.
felt like if you put 10 of us in a line right now in Foot Locker, we'll fight each other to buy that sneaker before the next person get it.
So
So
let me say this, brother Joe.
so how back then it's thousands of us. It's one man with a gun, and it might be another one. Somebody had to have some type of sense that when they shoot it, they had to watch the master when he shoot it, and he had to wait for more bullets to come to load it because they was having shotguns back then.
Mm-hmm.
So nobody thought to rush these dudes, but I know it was probably a lot of revolutionaries that did rush them and was chopping their heads because that's what they showed in the Tula Revolution. How Tula in Curacao, these are some brothers in the ABC Islands. Check that out if you haven't seen it. It's on. Look for it on YouTube if you can. But it's
Yes,
called the
sir.
Tula Revolution, and they was the second biggest revolt since Haiti. So soon as Haiti kicked off, Tula kicked right in. And I'm sure it was way more people that caused some revolts too, but we don't know about them. But when I was in Curacao, when I went to his statue, it was disheartening because every other monument that was up, it was lit up. It had lights. But when you got to Tula's, the lights was out.
Mm.
I was furious. I went crazy. Of course, I didn't know who to go to say why his light is off, things of that nature. But soon as you get a chance, Tula Revolution, Tula
Tula.
Revolution, and it
Yes,
went
sir.
on in Curacao. Some people might call it Caraco, but it's Curacao.
I want to show you something, brother Joe, because to answer your question when you said, man, why? I said that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that the primary thing that the slave master used to rule us, brother Joe, was fear. But I got this book by brother Dr. Wesley, and I want to show you. I want to show you an image, and I don't want our people on the on the line to cringe, but I gotta show it to you because I know a lot of time we use the phrase "stand up nigga," but the concept is incompatible. because niggas wasn't made to stand. But I want to show you this image real quick, bro, Joe. You said why wasn't we? You see that, bro? You see that image, bro, Joe? Now this is a postcard, brother. This is a colonial postcard. You see that image, brother?
Mm.
And this is what was done to us repeatedly in front of our families, in front of our children, not for a year, not for 2 years, but for 400 years, brother. We were sodomized, brutalized, viciously maimed in front of our children, in front of our women. So when the children saw that, you can imagine what that did to them psychologically. When the women saw that, you can imagine what that did to them psychologically. You
Right.
understand? So psychologically, we were frozen and we were paralyzed with fear. And the slave master, that's how he ruled us. That's how 2 or 3 people can rule hundreds. And this is again the creation of the modern police force. Because after we came here, we began to grow. They knew that, they outnumbering us. So they had to create like a military arm or wing that would
Right.
keep us under control. And then whenever we tried to break from their control, or let's say Nat Turner, they got something that they call postmortem brutality, where even after I seen you had a image, you showed the chair. I think it was in
Oh yeah,
Georgia.
with the hair of slaves. Yeah.
Brother, listen, the audacity. Whenever a black man from among us rose and challenged the slave master, they were so furious that we had the audacity to do that. That even after they killed us, brother, they would castrate us, cut off our ears, boil down our skin, make wallets out of it, shoes, nigga
Mm-hmm.
shoes they would wear.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because they wanted to put so much fear in the other black men who maybe had a thought that, yo, man, I'm gonna break from these chains. So
And
you
you
get
know,
a grip.
not to cut you off, brother, they do that right now today. Like with the police shootings and the shootings that they doing, and how some saying don't break out, don't run. But when I came up, if one run, we all run. You know what I'm saying? So
That's why
a young
brother Joe, they keep. I'm telling you, bro. The brothers gotta understand. The brothers in Chicago, the brothers in Atlanta, the brothers in North. Listen. Our open enemy, he sees deeper and he sees further than what we see. And I know as the minister teach us, we see our brothers doing vicious things to one another, and we like, man, it's terrible, and it is. But this is the most fearless generation that we ever produced,
right,
and our enemy knows that, and he's afraid that if them brothers connected with the right voice, see, this is why they won't let Brother Larry out.
right,
This is why they won't let Chief Malik out, because he sees and he knows their potential to be great leaders. So he got to bury those that got that potential, that will organize the masses of our young, fearless men and make them brave fighters, not against each other, but against this oppressive system.
right.
So he got to keep us engaged in activity that's illegal, that's unlawful. And he don't never want us to hear a voice that will cause us to be better than what we currently are. The minister not on Instagram. You said, man, they blocked me from going live. They
Yeah.
always wanted to stifle the voices of
Mm-hmm.
those brothers and
Where,
sisters
where,
that
where
they feel are
brother,
strong
where
leaders.
brother, where brother RZA at? Did they not take him off too? Cause I haven't seen him on
No,
my
he off,
timeline.
brother. Brother Reza off.
Wow.
Brother, always Denmark Vesey. They did it with all of our great leaders, Paul Robeson, Frederick Douglass. See, what you do is you demonize the leader to his own people, and then you make the man look like he's something of a charlatan or crook, or he's unrighteous. They did it with Dr. King. They did it with all of our great leaders. And it wasn't until after the leader died that we got to study the leader for ourselves. And we like, he wasn't really what they said he was. Why? Because we let our open enemy pick our friends for us and pick our
That,
enemies for us.
that's why I just seen, brother, when I was like, America was built on violence, and now these social media pages come with this slickness about the community guidelines. That's another way to put a muzzle on us.
Brother, you can't
So
protest now. Yeah, and they
Yeah.
trying to now they trying to stop the way we protest. Again, this man always got to keep a noose around our neck, not just physically but psychologically, because that's always been his routine practice. Control the slaves, and any slave that look like he want to stick his chest out, you
Knock them
understand?
down.
Then we gonna make an example out of him. So that's
Hmm.
why they ain't gonna let Larry out, brother. That's why I just was watching on here the lawyer that went there, the
Hmm.
ABX, and they wouldn't let the brother in, and they treating him like they was treating him because they wouldn't let brother
Little brother
Tuki out.
Justin Moore, he from Dallas. That's
Yeah,
our
they
young
wouldn't let
brother
Tuki
Justin.
out.
So
You see, they wouldn't let Tuki out after the man been reformed because you know now he's wiser, he's more intelligent, and you know his influence on them Crip brothers. But we can't have you. You seen Big U up here, right? Talking
hmm
about when the minister they gave him more time because they said he was taking the Crips to meet with Farrakhan.
hmm
So they gave him more time. They extended his time. See,
hmm
that was to try to put fear in our brothers. See, if you associate with him who we don't like, then we're gonna tighten the noose on you.
and then they don't let the minister come to the prison systems to speak to none of the brothers or the sisters that's incarcerated.
The colleges, none of that, brother.
The college, right? And then I remember Tariq was going through something where they banned him from going to Paris or somewhere. I think they
Yeah, England.
flagged his flight. Yeah,
You
it
know,
was
they
some.
banned the minister from England. He can't even go to England. He banned
Yeah.
from there.
Wow.
And been banned. He been brother. The minister raised up England with a cassette tape. All they had was one cassette tape. They never allowed him to go there. They banned him completely. You persona non grata. You can't come here. You can't land here.
Brother
So
Ben X got to be careful too now, because I guess anybody that keep, oh man, it's crazy that we can't even speak on our history. Like, oh man, this is crazy. And see,
we
but
gonna be alright, yo.
you know what I'm starting to think? It's like when that statement they saying go back to Africa. I
Mm-hmm.
think that's what they trying to do, and it's a lot of people doing it. Because I have an uncle that I talked to about last week. He 91 years old. He said, I think he said he 91 or 92. But I was asking him about one of my aunties, these my grandfather siblings. So I was saying like I was asking for them, and he was like, well, a lot of them did move back to Africa.
Right,
So
right.
I'm like, what? I never knew that. You know what I'm saying? So he like, yeah, man. He said a lot of, because all of them was doing well for themselves here in America. But
Mm.
he said that they said they don't want their bodies over here when it's time for them to go on. They
Mm-hmm.
want it over there. So I didn't think of that. Some people feel like I might have not been born in the motherland, but I want to be buried there.
Yes, sir.
So I was like, damn, that was something to think about.
Yes, sir.
Um, and when you was just speaking on when they was um, selling the slaves, when I was in Senegal and Goree Island, and I'm standing in the slave quarters, and you can still smell a
Mm.
certain stench or smell from back during them times. Um, man, the room was so small, so to try to shove all these people in there in that heat is unbearable thoughts. And they always say right there at the door, because I walked to the door, and I stood on the cliff on the edge, and I could still see sharks
Mm.
coming there. Because I guess through they generations of generations, you know, that's why they say it's impossible to say how many slaves was brought over here,
Mm-hmm.
because a lot of them didn't get on that ship.
Right.
They jumped in that water
That's right.
because they knew that, I guess, word was getting back that if y'all get on that boat, this is what's gonna happen. So that's why they start getting them from Ghana, Nigeria, I guess, Senegal, and everywhere else they was getting them from. sending them straight to Portugal and then the West Indies.
Right.
Man,
That's
bro.
what they broke us at, brother Joe. Them seasoning stations. I
Yeah.
mean, this man, brother Joe. I know a lot of our brothers. You know, we like to wear nice things and designer. When you study the history, man, I look. You know, brother Joe. Back then, they had something called Negro cloth.
Mm.
It wasn't Louis Vuitton. It was called Negro cloth, and this was the clothing that they made particularly for us to wear. And in the beginning of the year, our season, they may give us two pair of pants, two shirts, maybe a pair of underwear, and some shoes. They called them Negro brogans, and they were very uncomfortable. A lot of times they didn't fit, so we would have to rub grease and Vaseline on our feet, pork fat, you know what I mean, in order to make it fit. But this is the type of suffering that we went through, and then they got something called epigenetics, where they say that trauma could be passed down on a cellular level, you know what I mean, genetically. So when you look at us, we never had a chance to heal. We always been under this type of oppression, tutelage, and rule. So when you see our children, man, and you see what they are displaying today, it's not by an accident. It's not coincidental. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan teaches us that the type of viciousness and the anger and the frustration that you see in our children, man, it's been passed down from generations. And our children have a lot of potential, some of the greatest potential that we ever had. But as a people, we just have to really do all that we can do to connect with them and really try to correct the dysfunction that's in our community. You know what I mean, Brother Joe? So
Yeah.
we just can't continue to be bystanders and watch our children knock each other off because they are babies. They come from our loins. You understand? They ain't come from another country or another island. They from us. They from the womb of our women. You see what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? And I know sometimes it seems like an immovable mountain, but I always remind the brothers, Brother Joe, that England and France was in war for 100 years, brother.
Mm-hmm.
They had 100 years war.
Right.
So I'm like, man, if they could reconcile after fighting for 100 years, then these generational beef that we got 20 years, and I know it's been a lot of bloodshed, you understand? But it's not necessarily us, it's the culture, man. It's the culture in which we've been reared and raised. So it's not necessarily us, man. It's just the circumstances of it all, man, you know? So there's a saying, Brother Joe, that if the soul is left in darkness, sins will be committed. The guilty one is not he who commits the sin, but he who creates the darkness.
All right. And I want to stop it and go to where the brother said, good brothers, why did Lincoln want to send Africans to Cuba? Please need to know. I never heard of that before.
Because, Brother Joe, Jefferson, Lincoln, they were trying to create a colonization society. Because, listen, Brother Joe, Abraham Lincoln said this. He said, there's a physical difference between the white and the black races, which I believe will forever forbid the two races from living together. He
Mm-hmm.
said, but while they do remain together, there must be the position of superior and inferior, and not as much as any man am in favor of having a superior position assigned to the white race. So Lincoln was a white supremacist, and he knew that as long as we were together, we would be disagreeable to live with in peace because we different, Brother Joe, naturally. So he like, man, listen, send them somewhere else because being under white rule, they're not gonna make it. So he tried to colonize us. That's how you get Liberia, which is in Africa. You
Mm-hmm.
understand? Because I mean, we was under such turmoil and under such threat by the Democratic Party. See, the Ku Klux Klan was really the military wing of the Democratic Party. So we was under such terror, Brother Joe, that black people was like, yo, man, we gotta get the hell out of here. Cause these people are killing us, bro. So we wanted to flee. So a lot of us went to Canada. A lot of us went to Liberia. Like we wanted to be anywhere but here. And then we migrated to the West. We went to Kansas. You understand? We got to Chicago because after going to the North, slavery was just as bad in the North as it was in the South. So we like, man, the hell with that, man. So we start going west. We start Chicago, Los Angeles, because we were just trying to get away from this man. Because
Mm-hmm.
anytime, Brother Joe, we made a little stride, we saw what they call white backlash. We would see the worst of white folks. Whenever it looked like we was getting something after they passed the 13th Amendment, 14th Amendment, man, that's when the Ku Klux Klan came, 1860s, when we began to get things. Because again, they always wanted to dominate us with fear. But that's the answer to the brother question in terms of why they was trying to send us to South America. It wasn't just Lincoln, it was Jefferson too. Because Jefferson said, I advance it therefore as a suspicion only, that the blacks, whether originally a distinct race, are made distinct by time and circumstances, they are inferior to white people in the endowments of both body and mind. So most of these presidents, man, were white supremacists. And
Even with Lincoln with a black mother, though, I think his mother was a slave, right?
I don't know if Lincoln's mother was a slave, but I know that the Emancipation Proclamation was only to save America. It never was really to save us. And really, Brother Joe, the first test run of the Emancipation Proclamation was done before 1863. It was done in Washington, D.C. They did it like a little test run because D.C. used to be called the Congo of America because the National Mall, that was a slave market.
Yeah, I know. Then they
So
said, "Do y'all know they coming out with a show called Underground Railroad?"
man,
And
it's been so many shows on that, bro, Joe. I mean,
and Gullah Wars, Lincoln ain't free nothing. So I know that's the Gullah Geechee. I went down to South Carolina to I was at NI double is it NIAA? NI
NAACP.
No, NIAA. That was going on in Charlotte. That event in Charlotte where it's all prominent black people, judges, doctors. It was the event going on.
Okay.
NCAA? No, NIAA. You ain't never heard of NIAA?
No, no, sir.
If somebody, oh, CIAA, my fault.
Okay.
Yeah, CIAA. It was in, well, it's supposed to be, I guess, in Baltimore now. I forgot where it started. I'm not sure if it started in DC and then it went to Charlotte for 10 years. So I went to 10 years straight. But it was like doctors, lawyers, judges, all black prominent hierarchy people. It was like a Howard homecoming, if you would say,
Mm.
type situation. And while I was there, I was like, I'm close. Let me go down here to see and meet some Gullah Geechee people because I have been hearing so much about them
Right.
and the way that people from New Orleans talk and the similarity because they were supposed to be the only people still in America that still speak the tongue of the slaves when they learn English.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where they get they past tense talk. You know,
Yes,
like
sir.
in New Orleans, like we might say, let me tell you something, or I told you. But then in New Orleans, they'll say, I tried to told you, but you ain't won't heard me.
Yes, sir.
And
Yes,
you
sir.
like, what? You know what I'm saying? So
Uh,
instead of people on the East Coast making it derogatory every time they speak, like if you don't have a Irish accent, as I tell them, you know what I'm saying? Stop making it seem like when y'all say, oh, y'all got a country accent just because it don't have the Irish accent that the East Coasters have.
yes, sir.
You know, and I say you're a black person or an island person with an Irish accent.
Right. Right.
So yeah, anybody gonna sound different to you. But stop when you saying it, stop making a person feel like you talking down on them when they say that.
Yes,
And then
sir.
they start understanding it. Then like I say, because majority of everybody from New York in that tri-state area, grandparents come from Virginia or Carolinas.
Right. Yes,
So
sir.
when you saying, oh y'all country and all this, because I correct them all the time. I'm from the Midwest. You know what I'm saying? So I wasn't from the family that in the summer that went south for the
Mm-hmm.
summer when summer vacation. And I remember my whole projects used to be empty. And I'm like, where's everybody going?
Mm.
And they said, we going down south. I had never heard of that before. You know
Yes,
what I'm
sir.
saying? Like, we going down south. So I remember being like the ugly duckling, bro. I used to be sad. Like,
Mm.
well, all my friends, like, picture projects being empty.
Mm.
It don't sound right. But they was all going down south. So now I start having to ask my mother, like, well, I want to go down south. If my friends' parents say it's room for me, could I go? You know what I'm saying? But I never had got a chance to go down. But we have our lineage from my great grandmother's grandfather coming from Africa to the Americas. So that helps me a lot. Cause even with my grandmama, she always like, why do I want to know this stuff? And it makes me frustrated because I'm like, for one, it's 17 of y'all and I don't know all of y'all.
Mm.
You see what I'm saying? And each one of y'all have 6 to 9 kids apiece. Two of my cousins was about to marry each other. They grandmothers walked in the church to get, like, what is y'all? This can't happen.
Mm.
But now look at the mentality of that. They done been doing all type of whatever with each other and finna
Right.
playing a life with each other. And they first or second blood. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So when I showed her my interest of want to know this stuff, then she provided it all, and I was shocked because we got a thick thing and how my great grandmother's grandfather had 14 children,
Mm.
and my great grandmother is one of his sons, and I think he had 9 or 11 children or 14 children. So my great grandmother got 14 brothers siblings. You see what I'm saying?
Yes,
So
sir.
whew, it's a lot of people, man.
Yeah, and I mean, on them plantations, man, we was forced to have incest, man. I mean, man, if the story was told, brother, in terms of what we've been through here, they say it would make a brass monkey shed a tear, brother.
Mm-hmm.
Just our sojourn here and what we've been through. And I just would pray, brother Joe. I just think we don't know enough of ourselves and our history, and not to dwell on it, but it's imperative to know because a lot of what you think is you is not you, but you have adopted a custom and a behavior and a way of doing things. You see what I'm saying? That's really foreign to you and your nature. And that's why the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said one of the first and most important truths that must be established is our identity.
Mm-hmm.
Because as a people, Brother Joe, we suffer from an identity crisis, which is a state of confusion that happens when a person is unable to reconcile conflicting aspects of their personality. So when you look at us, Brother Joe, and how we look contorted and twisted a lot of times because most of us is in conflict. Why? Because we in conflict with what the Creator created us to be and what this country has made us into. So we always in an internal fight. We struggling, man. You know what I'm saying? Always internally. And when you look at the average age, man, in terms of the black man life expectancy, I mean, if we make it past 44, man, listen, after that, the number one leading cause of death is heart attack.
Heart attack. Yeah. I
Yeah?
can't see the time that we have, but could you let me know? Because I don't
Yeah.
want us.
It's 10:39.
No, it's not telling you how much. Because you know the live will go on for an hour.
Nah, I
So
think we got on about I think we about to come up on an hour, bro, Joe, because I think we got on around 9, maybe a little after 9:30, maybe.
okay, so I want to speak back onto how I think I sent you the dark skinned Arab brothers and sisters that plagued the racism on in Saudi Arabia
Mm-hmm.
and other places in the Middle East, as they call, which is still Africa.
Mm-hmm.
But the mistreatment, or when I was saying that's what be so conflicting when like Brother Polite was doing his debates and go on about how Islam is the baby religion. Like we the last religion or the newest religion, however you want to put it. And I seen a minister speak on the whitewash Arabs, as he say.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if we supposed to be so Muslim, why do y'all have liquor stores on every corner over here? You know, why y'all selling this poison in the stores in our communities over here? So when he called them out on that, they don't like it. But the higher ups, they love him for calling them out on it.
Right.
Like I seen one of the brothers, um, I think of Saudi Arabia, and I don't know if you've seen that when he asked the minister, the only thing he asked of him before he leave this earth was to learn the Quran in Arabic, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and it was and the minister said he'll try to do that, but like he said, we in America and my brothers and sisters don't speak Arabic. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
That's right. We
So
speak English, brother.
so I see a lot of brothers over here in America that have their identity crisis and want to be from the culture of over there just because you believe in the same religion and you don't have to do that.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So
A
that
lot of
was
them
my
practices. A
huh?
lot of them practices, Joe, man, it's like, the minister teaches us that the Quran brings its own culture. Like, and every culture have its own identity, and they got things that are specific to their culture. And Islam does not come to dominate a culture; it brings its own culture. So you got some African brothers that wear certain type of clothing. You
Hmm.
got brothers from Turkey, they wear certain type of clothing, certain type of headdress. That's cultural. You see what I'm saying? But it does not interfere as long as it does not conflict with the religion. It's not interfering. You can have your own cultural identity, but still be a Muslim. You understand? You got Muslims in China. They got their own cultural identity, but again, what unites us is those principles. And see, bud, I'm happy you brought this up because it's like when Muhammad came, peace be upon him, Islam, Arabia was fragmented with tribes, but he came and united the tribes. And that's kind of what we are right now, brother Joe. We tried. Somewhere in the blue, somewhere in the red, GD, black. See, we tried. You follow me? And each of us got our own identity, our own cultural identity. But I'm saying it has to be a set of principles or codes or ethics that we all got to revolve around. You follow me? Man, we can't shoot children. Nah, we can't do that. It got to be some ethics and some codes that we as in our tribal expression that we could say, man, we respect that. And I know a lot of the brothers do and would respect it. I just think that a lot of the people that try to engage with them, they just kind of out of touch, and they try to do so from cultural imperialism standpoint, meaning that they try to put their own values over on these brothers in the street values, which is not fair. So my thing is just to create a bargaining zone, brother Joe.
Hmm.
I know you got your own set of standards and rules and codes of ethics that you follow, and I understand and I respect that and I appreciate that. But is can we do this? This don't conflict with your gangster, you know what I'm saying,
Right.
or what you believe to be
But
hard.
see, the one thing they gotta understand is the self genocide. Once they, it's gonna take a lot for them because at first, just coming up, we just game banging. What color you wearing? What side your hat turn?
Right.
You ride the 5 or the 6 or the trays. You know, and it took funerals of family members coming to that funeral and y'all was all together
Right.
for you to realize, wait, hold on, like a person rock bottom or they breaking point. So
Mm-hmm.
one have to, and just like in Chicago, you see they do a big celebration if they make it to 18. That's a
Right.
super celebration. You see what I'm saying? Right now in
Right.
2021, if you ever was to pay attention of a lot of the artists or whoever, once they made it to 17 or 18, They stayed in the house just so they can make that birthday and post it that they made it to that.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? So people wouldn't understand when I'm saying I was told that I wasn't gonna make it to C11 and 12 years old because I was so bad in the street.
Mm.
So I remember getting out of jail at 21 years old, kissing the ground. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? Because
Fuck it up.
I'm in there, we inside with all juvenile lifers. You know what
Mm.
I'm saying? So to come get out, I kissed the ground and I never forget that. You know, and look back and was like, I ain't never coming back in here.
Mm.
So I done everything in my power to do just that. Stay away from that. It's been plenty of times that it's been situations that something could have popped off, and then I get to the point and say, you know what, bro, you win, because I don't feel good about self-genocide. And just by me being able to say those words, the person knew that I was on a whole different type of time,
Mm.
because I had the ups, but I knew it wasn't worth me taking this brother life just because we having a what you looking at match. Because basically that's all it be like, and they still doing that right now today. What you
Yes, sir.
looking at? They still doing that. You in the club, it's 1,000 people in here. You're gonna get bumped, and somebody gonna spill something on you. If a person ain't deliberately just taking a drink and throwing it in your face, you shouldn't be offended by them stepping on your shoe or nothing. Because some people will step on your shoe, and right before they look up to pay attention that that's what they done and to try to say excuse me, you done already hooked off on them.
Right. Right.
But if a police officer come step on your shoe, spitting in your face while he talking to you, you don't do that.
Right.
So I make sure I always try to put these type of thought processes on our brothers and sisters' minds. Because come on, bro, you could have took some soap and water and washed the shoe off.
Right.
And you gonna buy some more in 2 weeks anyway. You see what I'm saying? So you mean to tell me you able to go from 0 to 100 and willing to do bodily harm to your brother or sister for something as petty as that? But when it's time to go march out here or go revolt, you want to look on your phone and say these people crazy,
Right. Yes,
or
sir.
laugh and say, oh, they burning stuff up, ha ha ha. But you doing it from your phone. You ain't out there on the front line though.
Right. Yes, sir.
So I can't never respect cowards, man. You know, so that and those are cowardly acts, and that's why I always say in my days of being a coward, and I direct that to myself. I got the tool. This brother don't got the tool, so now it make me super tough. No, you're a coward. So I had to strip that from myself. You
Mm.
wasn't gangster because you done that. So I look in that mirror and talk to myself and strip that away from me. You wasn't tough. You had a gun. He was supposed to be scared.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes,
Now,
sir.
had you told him, let's shoot this fair one, then what?
Yes, sir.
You see what I'm saying? So that's why it's right now today, it's like you strip away the natural being of yourself. And it's a good thing that all these celebrity boxing matches was coming into play. Because we going to agree to disagree, but
Right.
we shouldn't be running to the gun all the time.
Yes, sir.
Then it's like to speak to the robbers and the jack boys. I've been done that, kicking doors. I was doing it all. You know what I'm saying? But I learned how I'm taking something from a person that ain't got no more than me.
Mm.
And if I want something this bad, work for it. That's what's being gangster to me in today's mind frame. I don't got to look over my back, this and that. If I go get this job and I work, and if I want to be independent, let me just stack this money up from this job and then invest it into some stocks or whatever. And I can live above my means, or I can strip myself for buying all the designer stuff. Don't Don't do no eating out. Just buy all groceries and eat inside. You see,
Right.
so it can be done, brother. You know what I'm
Yes,
saying?
sir.
And that's why anytime I see somebody saying I'm going to clock in, I make sure I salute them, keep up the great work. You see what I'm saying? Now, how we was pumping poison in the community, yeah, we was making what a doctor making a year in an hour or two.
Right.
Some of us was. So it sounded stupid. It was just like an entrepreneur and a person going to college. You going to school for 8 to 10, 12 years and you can't find a job? But I took the chance to do illegal stuff and I'm a millionaire.
Right.
Hopefully I could keep them millions before the feds come knocking or before you get killed in the street or get paralyzed in the street or robbed for what you got. Now you can take that money, invest it into something, and hopefully that it grow. Because you got to keep in mind, you got that money from an evil deed.
Yes, sir.
So in some cases, that karma can come back soon as you go to invest that money, even though you're trying to do the rightful thing with it, but you done the wrong thing to get it.
Right.
So that always plays its part on the mind too. So I just really wanted to speak on stuff like that and was saying like how it'll be conflicting because of the new age whitewash Arabs, show their racism towards us. Even if we one of the brothers that can recite the Quran from front to back, they still look side eye at us. Cause a lot of them can't even recite the Quran front to
Right.
back. So,
Well,
um,
I mean, racism, brother Joe, man, it permeates religion, politics, jurisprudence, education. Racism really has poisoned the bloodstream, man, of every institution, every social endeavor. You always
mhm,
see the light on top, the dark at the bottom. Whether you go to Mecca, you go to Egypt, wherever you go, there's
mhm,
always that killer dynamic. You understand? And that's kind of what has gripped humanity, where we can't even express our true divinity because we plagued by racism. So that type of mind has to die in order for humanity to be free. That type of social, we doing things on status, that gotta die in order for humanity to be free. And the way that humanity be free is with unadulterated truth. You understand? So a lot
mhm.
of what we get now, man, is corrupted. It's being corrupted. It's like the pure word of God, brother Joe. The minister teaches us coming through an unclean heart. So it's like, brother Joe, the male organ. When a child is born, it has to get circumcised. Why? Because the if it's not circumcised, that hood it carries dirt, it carries disease. So you gotta circumcise it so when the essence of life come through it, you understand the essence doesn't pick up the debris from the hood of it not being circumcised. And that's kind of like the word of God, brother Joe. You understand? It's pure, but if it's coming through an uncircumcised heart or unclean vessel, then it becomes diluted, it becomes tampered with, and it
Mhm.
loses its potency. So that's why a lot of preachers and imams, they're speaking a powerful word, but the word is diluted because it's coming through an unclean heart, a heart that's tainted with vanity, racism, egoism. You understand? So
Mhm.
it's not having that effect that it should and could have when it was coming from the mouth of the prophets who gave it.
Right.
Moses was a prophet, Jesus was a prophet, and we've seen what they were able to do because of their personhood. So if you not living in accord with the word that you teach, then the word is not going to be effective or as
Mhm.
effective as it could be. So you got to begin to clean this vessel, which is really the house of God. You understand? But a lot of this entertainment, man, it's all, I mean, a lot of this religion, it's a lot of entertainment.
Mhm.
And the minister teaches us, man, that if you say you with Muhammad or you with whoever, that means you're supposed to be doing a certain work and you're supposed to be among a certain people. You understand? And I don't
Mhm.
know, brother Joe, you see me, I'm pumping like in my city, you know, we really working on uniting our brothers in the street. Cause that's where it is. If I got the light, brother Joe, and you in darkness, then I should be doing works of light. And my
Right.
light should be able to penetrate your darkness. Those of us who claim to have light, it's like instead of lighting the candle, we cursing the darkness. You
Right.
understand? And we got to remember that where we are now, we wasn't always here. We came through something. Like you said, Joe, you was banging, you was doing what you was doing. So I always got to remember that. That's what got to keep you as a human being humble. That
Mm-hmm.
yo, I'm not always where I was now. Yesterday, I had that same mentality. So the more knowledge you get, the more humble you got to get, the more tolerant you got to get, the more empathetic you got to get. But I see a lot of us online and we putting on the cloak of God because we making judgments. You see
Right.
what I'm saying? And we don't got all of the facts. But instead of teaching and being patient and raising our people, we condemning and we condescending and we judging our people. The young man with his pants down. Well, ask him, where's his father? Oh, he was killed when I was 12. Oh,
Exactly.
where's your mother? She worked 12, 13 hours a day. So
Right.
who's guiding you? A lot of times it's the rapper.
Mm-hmm.
It's the internet. So we just got to look at the totality of the circumstances, Brother Joe, when we out here and we trying to get our people and we trying to raise them and we trying to help. You know what I
And
mean? We just
see,
got to
and see,
look at
see,
those
that's
things.
what, and that's why I mentioned the suicidal beings, man, because
Mm.
if we know this cancer and all this stuff in these cigarettes, why do we smoke it? If we know all this stuff in these cigars, why is we inhaling it? If we know this liquor is eating up our livers, why do we drink it? So you got to have some self-control. And now it's two more things that I want to speak on, but I'm gonna start with one of this brother right here because I know he a Hebrew Israelite, and I notice every time I go live or I speak on these type of subjects, the Hebrew Israelites they be coming, bro.
Yes,
So he
sir.
say, first thing first, we have to know our identity. We are not African American. We cannot be two nations. Every other race but us know their nationality. Um, okay, now next thing I want to speak on when I sent you that about the racism in Saudi Arabia, and I was saying when I said they religion, and I said, well, if they don't want to accept us as a people, why do we even want to follow their religion? And that's when you brought to my attention the book of the Black Saudi Arabia. Is that the name of it?
Yeah, yeah. Black Arabia. Yes,
The
sir.
yeah, the Black Arabia, and you said,
Yeah, that's
you
it
know,
right here, Brother Joe. Black Arabia, Brother Wesley. Yes, sir.
right.
Mm-hmm.
So basically saying Islam belonged to our complected people, and I guess throughout the times of migration and integration, you're getting these European figures over in Africa now, and they aware of the Hitlers and all them type of guys. What was the other guy that killed all them brothers and sisters
King
in the
Leopold.
Congo?
King Leopold.
Leopold.
Mm-hmm.
They're aware of them people, but it took just say like a Trump to say what he said about Mexicans and other groups of people for them to say, as much as y'all think y'all white, they don't look at y'all that way. Only when it's convenient for them. But yet and still, y'all quick to try to treat us bad or act crazy towards us.
Right.
So I say it over and over. Like when I see Asian women, they'll get with a European guy quick.
Right.
And I'm like, well, where the Blasians at? Because the Blasians, we the closest. African and Asian, you can swim on across. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, well, where's the Blasian love at? But then people bring it to my attention. They say, hey, it's evident that the white man then took all the resources and everything, and the parents or whoever say marry into money. So even if it's a lower class white man, the trailer living one,
Mm-hmm.
they'll rather be with him than us
Right. Right.
because of how they depict us to the world.
Status. See,
So
it's all about status, brother Joe, and you know, it's all about status and social standing, and that's kind of what this world is built on. Um, and those type of concepts have corrupted every facet of life, whether it be religion, whether it be education, whether it be politics. It's this classism, sexism, racism, and materialism. These isms, they dominate again every social standing of life. And that's why we can't, humanity is stifled and humanity is stuck because these institutions that is supposed to enlighten the populace, they are corrupted. So the minister teach us that he who gives you the diameter of your knowledge prescribes the circumference of your activity. If you
mm,
control a man's thinking, you do not have to worry about his actions,
right.
right? And most of these institutions, again, that is supposed to teach us, train us, and guide us, they are corrupted with racism, sexism, classism, and materialism. So again, that's why the Bible says, God talking, behold, I make all things new. Why? Because this current system, it has failed. And since it has failed to develop our humanity, then God sees it as obsolete. We don't need it because it's not working for us. So we need that which is new. We need that which will introduce self to self. Because a lot of us, we don't know our own potential. We don't know how possible uh, life can be in terms to enjoy and to live. Because again, these institutions that are supposed to teach us, help us, and give us that which we need, I mean, they're really dead, brother Joe, and they don't have what it takes. You understand, to make us what we need to be and what we could and should be. You follow me? So you can't. They don't give you life, man. This whole world is described spiritually as being a world of death. And then, brother Joe, real quick, the minister has taught us. See, earth and world is not the same. Because people are, man, yo, why God gonna destroy the world? Yeah, see, world is the institutions, the banking system, the educational system, the justice system. See, earth is physical, world is spiritual. So when it talks about this world is going to be destroyed, it's talking about the social institutions. You understand? That governs our intellect or that guides our intellect. That's what world means. The world is not earth and earth is not world. Why would God destroy the earth? The earth ain't did nothing. The earth been in submission since God created it. It spins on its axis. The seasons come in when they supposed to. You understand? So the earth is going to be the earth, but the world has to go because the world is toxic and it's poison, brother Joe. So it got to be done away with, brother. And you see that being done now. When you look at America and you look at these social systems, man, it's like they're at their wits' end. They don't know what to do, brother.
Yeah. We covered a lot. I'm gonna be there to see you soon. I think I get there on the 16th. So I'm
You
gonna
was
make sure
here before. I told the brother, I was like, yo, you know, brother Joe was in town. He like, nah. I was like, oh man, we missed brother. We was gonna
yeah.
come see you, man.
Yeah, I'll be there. I'll be there on the 16th. So I'll make sure I see you when I'm there. And we can finish building, man. I gotta get some of them books. Um, I look at history as his story. You
Yes, sir.
know, I look at when don't understand when I say good day, I don't say good morning,
Mm-hmm.
because they don't understand the signs of a lot of these words
Right.
and the real meanings. When they say good morning, they want us to. When you mourn, it's when you weeping. When you
Mm.
sad, you done lost somebody. So they want you to greet your loved one in death, basically. So I'm gonna continue beating that in people's head until they understand. You know what I'm saying? It's like you rude. You don't say good morning. You say good day, and then I break it down to them. Oh, you too deep. So it's like that. Let me know they willing to fall for anything.
Mm-hmm.
They just go for the surface. Everything is just for the surface with these people. They don't. Your mind can absorb so many things, but yet they use it. They use 1% of their brain.
Right.
And then they allow the liquor and the drugs, if they tell you, okay, this gonna kill your brain cells, they blaze it on up. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy to me.
Yes,
You
sir.
know, you never had no cases or signs of no cancers. All of a sudden now, uh, it's hereditary. Man, knock it off. You know
Yes,
what I'm
sir.
saying? You know why it's hereditary? Because they've been pumping this Tuskegee experiment in us for 500 years. So you
Mm-hmm.
right, it's a hereditary. You know,
Yes,
we've
sir.
been a science project for all this time. You know, yeah, but I love these type of conversations, man. People say, "Oh, you always singing on your live and listening to old school Dusties." I don't smoke and I don't drink, so I don't want to hear the rap lyrics that's talking about pop a perk, sip the lean. I don't want to hear that.
Yeah. Hey,
So,
Joe, we got to talk about that too. Look, real quick, man. I talked to my mayor here in the city of North, and I told him about doing this little hip hop summit, and he was with it. Mayor
mhm.
Raff, Moroccan, he was with it. Like, yo, yeah, man, we could do that. So we working on something now, God willing, trying to plan, put something together, man. A little hip hop summit here. I mean, we'll just do it in North, because I think it's definitely vital. It hasn't been one in a long time. You know what I mean? And
they
you know the
they
thing
they
is,
just done one. They had an artist we with Chad B from Newark, and they
okay,
just had some type of festival event over there
where North?
in Newark. Yeah.
Oh man, well listen, we gonna do it again, cause something, yo, Joe. My thing is, man, we gotta say something. I'm seeing our brothers. We talking about our brother just got arrested. Our brothers being killed, and my thing and our thing is, man, just to try to intervene and see if we could bring some balance back to the culture. You know what I'm saying? We
Hmm.
doing some things locally on the street, but we want to do some things for hip hop too. I mean, just go check the page, brother Joe. I sent you before those terms, those North Peace Agreement terms, and we want to try to do the same thing for hip hop, some type of terms or something like that, man. That brothers could just look at and consider them.
Yeah, basically, and just like keep putting it out there that a Queen Latifah respected herself and her lyrics. Will Smith and others was able to make the millions without cursing in their music. Uh, to Kendrick Lamar's and the J. Cole's, they followed in that. You know what I'm saying? So life is about a choice now. So you can either go with your conscious people or you can go with the suicidal crowd.
And that's
I
what we
don't know
got
what
to.
else to call them.
So I'm gonna see you in, but Joe, they just a little sample we did, like 6 terms. You know what I'm saying? It's basically, but I didn't even really get into the music per se, but more so how we interact socially. Yo, could our video shoots, could our interviews, could our places of business be neutral places? Like we ain't gonna do none of that crazy stuff here, cause I'm just thinking like we just gotta try to, help the brothers set some boundaries. Cause it's kind of like it's no boundaries now. We just doing it anywhere, everywhere. You know what I'm saying? Like we just kind of just off the hook right now. I understand everybody is savage, but there's
Hmm.
too many innocent people. You see what I'm saying? Getting killed, and then we messing up the money. Cause now you see brother Quando Ronda down there. He got 50 people at his show. Yeah, of course, you know what I'm saying? They're afraid. So now hip hop is a $1 billion industry, but the way that we conducting ourselves, and it has afforded a lot of brothers opportunities to get out the hood, to do for their families, to do great things. So my thing is, brother Joe, we don't want to get it to a point where now these people are afraid to do business with us. That means we can't go to our shows, we can't make money because every time we at a show, it's a shooting. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just
Yeah.
saying we just trying to offer something for the brothers to consider to be like, all right, you know what I mean? And yay or nay or whatever. But I just can't sit back being a student of Minister Farrakhan and seeing us degenerate the way we are and not try to do something. You see what I'm saying?
Hmm.
And whether it works or not, or the brothers be like, well, everybody not gonna be with it, but you may get some people like, man, you know what, we could do that. Like You see what I'm saying? So we just trying to offer something to the brothers and to the people where they could look at it and consider it. You know what I'm saying? And add
Mm-hmm.
to it. Well, nah, we ain't gonna do that. Because what we did here, bro, Joe, we put together these terms. We did a survey for the brothers in the street. And we asked them, like, yo, what y'all think about these terms? And they looked at it, nah, we don't like that, and we can't do that. We know what, but those is cool. So we want to maybe do the same thing, man. Survey the brothers and ask them, yo, look at these terms. Is this realistic? One good, two.
Do you got the terms in front of you?
No, not these ones. The hip hop ones. I'm gonna send them to you. I didn't because the hip hop ones are just a sample. I ain't really. I just did them, but again, I haven't had enough people to look over them to be like, yo, yeah, nah, take number 3 out. That's not gonna work. You see what I'm saying? So if enough brothers in the industry look at it, it could be like, yo, these could work. Like you're not asking too much. Nobody's putting their
But
life and freedom to
do you know
jeopardy.
what they are? Because there's a lot of people that's gonna watch this
Yeah,
video.
hold up real quick, bro. Joe, let
So
me
at
just
least we can get the word spread. It, you know what I'm saying?
yeah. Let me we'll run it down real quick. These terms real quick. Hold on. One second. I'm trying to find them, bro. Okay, here you go. All right, bro, Joe. So, like, say number 1, right? We said we agree that all public places are safety zones. This includes, but not limited to, video shoots, radio stations, parties, shows, our places of business, right? Number
Mm-hmm.
2, we said we agree not to use our music or videos. Now, this may be, brothers gotta get used to it because I know it's the wave now, but we agree not to use our music or videos to mock the killing of another person. Number 3, we agree not to use this agreement as a trick, backdoor, or loophole to do harm to one another. Number 4, we agree that once 2 crews agree to the terms of peace, we will nominate those who are the most trusted and respected from our crews to maintain the agreed upon peace through phone conversation, meetings, or whatever it means, or whatever means is most comfortable for everyone involved. So if you get some crews, they at war, we have some conflict resolution, they'll pick people that just keep those doors open. Talk every now and again. Make sure everything good, because you know a lot of times these beefs and stuff they get fueled by rumors and gossip. So if
Yeah.
you have some individuals in the crew, if they hear something, nah, they gonna go talk to them. They ain't gonna talk around them. Y'all heard
Mm-hmm.
this? Is that a true interview? Nah, that wasn't enough. They chopped that up because they do that. Number
Right.
5, we agree not to use social media or interviews to argue, sneak diss, or glorify the killing of a member of another crew. If we hear any rumors or gossip about ourselves and or someone we have had an issue with, we will allow those whom we select as mediators to look into it. And they don't necessarily, it may be you, brother Joe. A lot of brothers got respect for you. So they may
Mm-hmm.
use you as an arbitrator. Yo, nah, we know Joe, his word is good. Man, call brother Joe up. Let Joe look into that for us. You see what
Right.
I'm saying? So sometimes you need that third party that he not with either crew, but he
Right.
respected by
You
both
not
crews.
you not biased, and even with social media, how they allowing like the 4 boxes on here now.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good thing because if it's 2 guys is beefing and they got 3 boxes, if I'm up top and them 2 down here,
Bruh.
and we really had a conversation without it being something incriminating them or something like that, my thing just be like, I understand where the deep hatred can come from if one of the other lost a loved one.
We understand that. We
But then
understand
we
that, brother
gotta
Joe.
say, or how they say, it always gotta be a bigger person. And if I'm the one that lost a member, why I have to be the bigger person? Why it can't be an eye for an eye? You see what I'm saying? And it's like because it won't stop. If you see what I'm saying, like so if we can resolve these issues or never let them get to the point where the guns got to come into play. Just the cowardly behavior I see with 15 dudes jumping on one person, like. I never liked that. When we used to walk in our crew, it's 20, 30 of us, and I was the front liner, you know what I'm saying? So the first brother, whoever we come across, and I throw the dukes up, because we want to see our knockout, what our knockout game is like. Um, if I'm getting him or he swinging back, and I know that my crew gonna come try to jump on him, so it's not looked at in my eyes that they didn't help me. I always stated, win, lose, or draw, don't jump in.
Mm.
You see what I'm saying? I don't think a lot of other dudes done that.
Right.
And it was something else I wanted to mention. Just having flashbacks, bro. Like,
Yes, sir.
to where that, oh, about the sport of boxing. It was entertainment for the oppressors to put us in the ring, blindfold us, and let us scrap in the ring with 3, 4 of us until one get knocked out.
Right.
So it took me to have a conversation with the brother Emory Jones, and I was telling him about my nephew that was boxing, Kid Austin, Floyd Schofield, and he was just going for 5-0 right now on the 8th, but the fighter just backed out the fight, so he gonna fight on the 21st on Telemundo. And when I was speaking to him, because they got Rock Nation, and I was talking to him about, I know they got a sports division over there, so like that. And he was just like, he hate boxing.
Mm.
And I was like, damn, he crushed me, you know what I'm saying? Because
Right.
calling him thinking of all good deeds of, I just would want nephew to be in great hands all the way around the board. So he said, let me take that back, because I guess he felt my energy of
Mm.
reaching out to him, and what I was willing and trying to do. And then he explained what he meant. And basically it's what I just said about how they use that. So
Right.
basically it would be no sport. You see what I'm saying? So he want to do away with all those type of slavery entertainment type things.
Mm.
Like how they used to feed our babies to alligators for fun, like use
Right.
our babies for bait. Like, so it's crazy, man. So so we came to agreement about that, and I understood where he came from. And but I was like, damn, it's like you got brothers like Floyd Mayweather, and then it's kind of conflict resolution in today's society. I'd rather them pick the gloves up and put the guns down.
Right. Right.
You know what I'm
Yes, sir.
saying? So it's kind of like, bro, everything in society now is us uh accepting our hardship from the oppressors, or making it a good thing instead of a bad thing, like with the word nigga and negoose mean king, and that's just how they pronounced it, but they made it derogatory. So now we use it, and then brother Tupac say, never ignorant getting goals accomplished. So we always have to find or twist the derogatory and make it positive for us,
Mm.
instead of just do away with the word altogether.
Right. Right. The
So it's
emotion,
just a
man.
lot, bro, that we gotta work. It's just a lot that we gotta work on, man.
But Joe, and I think, man, we gotta I was reading. You're gonna be knocked out when I tell you these statistics, but like I gotta get them for Chicago. But I just seen them. But like in my city, right north, they say that like 80% of my city don't experience a violent crime, and they say that 62% of the crime is only done by 4% of the population. So they just did this report, and they were saying how A lot of the crime that's done in most of these urban cities is only done by between 3 to 10% of the population. But the way that the media portrays it, you think it's the whole Chicago. You can't walk nowhere. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? But when you really look at the data and the statistics, it's like, nah, the violence is segregated to certain areas and among a certain group. And that's what I'm trying to do, bro, Joe. I'm not being general. I want to be specific. Like, I want to go to the individuals that we know. Like, yo, man, we need to talk to them. We need to talk to them instead of just being general and talking to everybody. Yeah, everybody need it, but them brothers, they need it more. You see what I'm saying? We need to be specific, and we need to try to create and tell us something for them that will help them. You see what I'm saying? And that's my thing. I want to be specific with the brothers, and that's why with these terms, I'm trying to be specific. Like, I'm not saying that brothers ain't gonna have conflict, brother Joe. Brothers ain't gonna argue. They ain't even gonna fight. But we saying, listen, brothers, can you measure the response? All right, man. If something going on, man, call Big Joe. Brother Joe look into it for you. He know everybody, and everybody respect him. Can you call brother Joe and remember, Joe, man, I heard something, man. I ain't like what he said about me on that interview, man. Like, yo, man, call him up. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Get the brothers. That's what I'm saying. I'm not. Listen, we know,
I
brother.
got I got my little bruh Squeeze in here from Newark. You can let the brother know what area I know the 440 building what we call it, but
Oh
Squeeze
yes,
will
sir.
tell you the for
Yeah,
sure
yes, sir.
area.
Praise be to Allah. Yeah, see, I got brother Wu Bang on here, good brother. He said the mission is to stop it before it go there. Once it go there, back off. Only they can stop it. You know what I'm saying? So that's the thing. Like, sometimes, man, we feeling good, whatever. We slip up. You know what I'm saying? But we just need some people that's willing to be involved. Like, but it just kind of seemed to be this bystander apathy that we got in the music. Ain't no man, I ain't man, hey
And,
man,
and,
I ain't saying nothing. That's
and I want a Squeeze. What event was that? That festival that Chad just did. What was the name of it in Newark? Because the brother he said he wasn't aware of it. Try to get Squeeze to tell you about that event.
yes, sir.
Where you at, Squeeze? He just said I'm in here, but he's taking forever to respond. Um,
Is that him? No, that ain't him. My former
no
account
cut.
got
He
hacked.
the no cut page.
Okay, I don't see him.
And I don't want to call him because if I call him, I'm gonna knock him out the line.
Yeah, we going. But that's the thing, Joe. Man, we man, listen, man, we got it, man. I know we do, brother. Like, we got it. We just gotta stop feeding that negative, that wolf of doubt. You see what I'm saying? I know sometimes, man, it seems, man, like it seems overwhelming. You're like, man, every time you look up, like, you know what I'm saying? But that's because we got to work on it, man. We got to have conversations about it. We got to be talking about conflict resolution, man. We got to be talking about media. How can we fix that? What happened? We got to be talking about them success stories, bro, Joe, where you stopped and you brought some conflict to some of these issues. Like, we need to hear that because we need to know the possibility that it could be done. Like, you know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? But we ain't talking about it. Like, we wait till somebody get killed, then we gonna be like, yo, man, that's messed up. See, nah, we need to be talking about it before then, before it get there, you know?
And that's the thing, you don't be knowing it be our sisters too, brother. Our sisters play a major role in a lot of this stuff.
Yeah, brother.
You
You ain't
know,
see that joint with Mo 3? I mean, I don't know, it's
yeah,
alleged,
yeah.
but I've seen they talking about some type of, it was over one, but I know, man, that happens in the hood all the time.
Hmm.
That's a normal occurrence here.
And then it was strong to see that sister that do the readings, and she called the whole play out.
Right, right, yeah,
So
yeah.
I was see people be thinking that these is people that don't have these readings and them powers. When she came kicking, I'm talking about man. That sister, man, had you on the edge of your seat, brother. She called it out, and then you have to believe her and her powers because she was in a whole nother state somewhere in a hotel room and told them everything, how everything transpired.
Hey,
And
look, bro.
she never met Mo3 in her life. And she was saying his spirit is talking to her, telling her this and telling her that. And bro, when I tell you this lady called it out to the T, to what's the, since they done caught two of the guys, this lady called all that out.
Mm.
Man, now that was something else. That was just
Yeah.
like it was another thing went around viral where a sister that had a reason and she walked into a convenience store and the sister was behind the counter and she just stopped or whatever and she said, like, was telling her the person said they all right, don't grieve or this and this and that. Man, the sister started crying and took off work, bro.
Yo, listen, I
But
know
she
that's
know
real,
she didn't
man.
know that lady from nowhere and she knew she never seen this lady before.
Hey, look, bro, Joe. The Abdul Muhammad taught us this lesson. He said, some men and women are born with the gift of prophecy. He said, and others are trained into it through an intense study of history. So you got some of our people that are born with the power to tune in. I mean, that's a real occurrence among us as a people, in particular. The radio in the head, he called it, where you could tune in on people's thoughts. But we just so poisoned and so toxic because of the food and the environment and the air. You understand? But that's a natural thing for us to tune in, for you to be across town and I could tune in on you. I ain't got a call. Man, it happens all the time, bro, Joe. You be thinking about somebody and then the phone ring. You like, yo, man, I was just thinking about you. But we thinking it's just coincidence. But he teaches us that at one time or another, we had that type of power. They call it the radio in the head, where you could just tune in on somebody and you could talk to them without a telephone. But that's the power of the mind. That's the power of our brain capacity. But like you said, we not even there. We only using 1%, 2% of our brain power. Because the food that we eat, and it got us docile, it got us lethargic, we sick, this water is toxic. You see what I'm saying? So we can't tune in to our higher self because we operating on a cardinal and a base level. Like we real cardinal and real flesh and earthy right now. You see what I'm saying? But we
Hey
are highly
brother, I
spiritual
don't want
people.
to cut you off, brother, dude, but it's a guy. This brother was blessed, man. He say he been shot 16 times, and a lot of the stuff he been through could have been resolved with a simple phone call.
That's what I'm saying, bro,
But
Joe.
dude, he said, but dudes be high and tripping, so you forced to be, so you basically be forced to mess one of them up.
Right.
You know, I'm not choosing, not using the words that he using, but I just know the brother is guided, man. Be shot 16 times, Jack. You know,
Yeah, yeah, yes, sir. But you see what you said, bro, Joe. A lot of it could have been resolved with a phone call, man. You know how many lives could have been saved with a conversation. It was just a misunderstanding. Somebody was scared and they ain't had nobody to reach out to look into what they heard. So I mean, I'm gonna get him before he get me. But it wasn't even that. Maybe it was just some gossip. You see what I'm saying? But they ain't have a joke. They ain't have somebody to call like, yo, bro, could you look into that for me, man? I heard this, I heard that. And that's what I'm saying we need, man. Some brothers, trusted confidants, men of character, credible people that these brothers could call and look into. And the minister always been that for hip hop. You know what I'm saying, bro, Joe? The minister always been that. But now he is where he is. And it's kind of like there's nobody now where these brothers trust and listen to and love enough that they'll sit down and like, yo, man, you know what? I'll talk to him or whatever it may be, or I'll cool out or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
see, some people be they put a page down. That sister that her IG page is Queens Domain underscore the number one. But you know, people would be scared of her, bro, because she either gonna read you and tell you what's going on, might be from your past or your future. So people they run from that. You
But
know what I'm
Joe, he
saying?
said that lady kind of scared me. The brother,
Yeah.
he said,
Hey, he said she scared him because, bro, if you was following that when it was going on, man, that lady called out everything before. The police even knew what was going on. She knew, and she called it out, bro. Like it was crazy, man. You would have thought Mo3 called her on the phone
Wow.
and told her step by step what's going on. And she
Mm.
never met them. She didn't know them or nothing. And read that like that, man. That was something.
Oh,
You know?
she read that situation. She read that
Yeah.
situation. Oh wow.
And then it was like, because you had to wait for a while because his manager come to find out he was on the phone with him. You know, so he heard the shots going off and everything.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? So, and then Lil Boosie went down there for the visual, and he got shot.
Yeah, crazy.
You know, which was critical for him because you know he got the diabetes, so he could have lost a limb or anything. You know,
Yes,
it's
sir.
gonna take him a long time to heal and all that.
Yes, sir.
So, man, bro, it's deep. I'm surprised this live still going though.
Yeah, they with us. Hey, Joe, the God with us tonight, brother.
It gotta be, because I ain't never been able to stay on this long.
He with us tonight, brother Joe. Look, he said with or three or more are gathered, there I'm in the midst of them also. He with us tonight, brother Joe.
Gotta be.
Yo, we've been on here for at least like an hour and a half, 2 hours almost.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. Yes, sir. But man, look, I'm fired up, brother Joe, man. I'm ready to work. You know, we doing some big things in the city of North. You know what I'm saying? Surrounding our brothers in these youth organizations. And we just ready to make it happen, man. You know what I'm saying? We just ready to make it happen. Like we just want to do something. And I said, even if it don't work, or man, listen, somebody got to do something. You feel me? Somebody got to say something, intervene. Nah, brother, don't do that. And that's just kind of what we want to do. We want to stand in the gap and teach these brothers, man, it's a way to handle things. Like we don't always got to get the gun. It's a way to resolve this steps. It's a process to this. You know what I'm saying? And I know a lot about we don't come from that type of environment where we taught to mediate and resolve things without blood being shed. You know what I'm saying? So I just want to talk to the brothers, man, and you know, just get them some steps or something. Man, follow this, man, some steps of atonement, you know, a way to handle our issues, you know.
Right. Yeah, bro. Well, I'm gonna come check you, man, when I touch down.
Yeah, just let me know, bro. Joe, you in the city. Last I had to check. I was looking on the live. I said, yo, bro, Joe was in the city. I
Mm-hmm.
called some of the brothers. They like, nah, who Joe? I'm like, man, Joe was in the city. And oh my good, I think he going now. I think when I looked, you was on you was on your way to Baltimore. I think it was
Okay.
because you was here.